Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Lion, the Witch, and the Narcissist. So, you guys can see that I already posted a video here, and it's a conversation, and I'm going to get into a discussion about what that is, but before I really start telling you guys my whole story, and, I want to explain why I'm doing this channel and what brought me here, and all that kind of stuff. If you found this channel, you are, I'm assuming, in some way, looking for answers. You believe that somebody in your life is a narcissist, whether it be your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your husband, your wife, your mom, your sister, whoever. You're specifically looking for information about this. And that's the same way that I started figuring out that somebody in my life was a narcissist. The difference between my channel and I think the rest of the channels is that my goal is to be there for people who are not really the direct victims of the narcissist. Not the boyfriends or the girlfriends or stuff like that. When one of these people comes into your life, and in my situation, this person was like a parasite and they kind of came into my life and the host was my brother. I didn't really have to deal with them. I wasn't obligated to deal with this person. I didn't live with them. I wasn't dating them. And so, very early on from when my brother met her, I had sensed that something was wrong with this person. And these people come into your life. When they come into somebody's life, they do not just destroy the person's life who, dating or whatever. They destroy everybody's lives around them. And they destroy relationships, and that's what happened in my situation. This girl came into my life, and very early on, I had acknowledged that, I had picked up and sensed that something was wrong with her. I consider myself somebody that has a very good read of people. Usually, I'm just right, my instincts, whatever it is, I don't know what to call it, but I would say, 9 out of 10 times, I'm right about what I think, So when this person first came into my life, I had only met her a handful of times. And so before everything kind of started falling apart and the mask was starting to slip, so to speak. So this person came into my life and destroyed my relationship with my brother, destroyed my relationship with my brother's relationship with my mom, and really just kind of tore our family apart. And even my extended family, to a sense, was torn apart because of her. And it's really, really sick. And so when you're a sister or a mother, who lost her son to a narcissist or her daughter to a narcissist, it's a different perspective. And, we're kind of from the outside looking in. And the only thing I could compare it to is watching somebody who loses themselves to, addiction, some kind of drug like heroin or, some serious drug, crystal meth, something like that. Because you're watching the person that you love just change right before your eyes. You're like, wow, they're not the person that they used to be. They're a shell of what they once were. And when you're in it, it's very hard to see. Back when I was young, around probably 19 years old, I dated a guy that I believe was maybe not a narcissist, but definitely somewhere in the cluster B category. He was, very jealous, very controlling, just, psychotic. I would be up all night, all hours of the night, fighting with him and, just having these circular conversations and just, not understanding why, like I was being interrogated and tortured. And we fought so much, and his emotions were so up and down, and, some of the irrational thoughts he had and the suicide, he was suicidal and just all this crazy shit. And, I didn't know because I really didn't have the life experience. I lacked the life experience at that time to really know any better. And I remember when I broke up with him, I read this article in Cosmo magazine about emotional abuse. And I do, from what I remember, there was some mention of, I think, borderline personality disorder, maybe some other, antisocial personality disorder or something like that. And I remember when I read that article, one of the things that it said in that article was, they move into relationships. It was like signs that somebody might be, an emotional abuser. And that was one of the signs was, the relationships moves very fast. They put you up on a pedestal and then they knock you off, and all these things. And I really sat there because what I went through, the brain, I can't quite put into words, but the mental games that this person played with me. When I broke up with him, it took me a very long time to stop feeling like I was under his thumb. When I went completely no contact with this person, it took me such a long time to get rid of that paranoid feeling. I had feelings sometimes, and this is so hard to explain, and you guys will know if you've been through this, but I had this feeling at times that he could even read my mind and know what I was thinking. That's how fucked up these people. This is what they do to your brains. This is how much they get inside your head that you actually feel like they could read your fucking thoughts. And if you're thinking negatively about them, they're going to know about it. I was so fucking paranoid. But when I broke up with that person, I remembered that article. And from that point on, that was like my first boyfriend, my first long-term boyfriend. And from that point on, I repeated those signs to myself, those red flags. And every other guy I dated from there on out, if I noticed one of those things, or two of those things, I just left. Listen, everybody has faults and might do one or two things. And trust me, I've looked at it and go, oh my God, am I a narcissist? Because, I might do this or that. You're not. If you're on freaking YouTube right now and you are searching for narcissists, it's because you want to understand another human being. Narcissists do not have the desire to understand other human beings and what makes them tick, because all they give a shit about is themselves. So, these traits I just repeated, and there's, I just learned how to get more in tune with my intuition, and it probably saved me from being in a lot of abusive relationships, because I was a perfect victim for that. I grew up in a home with a father who was kind of, a drinker, and I guess you might even call me codependent. I was the fixer in my house. I was the one who was the glue, who was always worrying about everybody else. And, I had that in me, to just want to help people. And I still have that problem, and I'm starting to learn not to want to help people, in that way. Because the reality is, somebody who has a mental disorder, you're not going to help them. You might, but you're not going to change them. They ultimately need to be responsible for themselves, and they need to see what's wrong with them. So when I watched my brother starting to date this girl, I recognized a lot of the signs that I saw in my own relationship. The speed of the relationship, the, just really over the top, intense, adoration and love bombing. It was just, I saw it and I got worried. And the more the relationship went on and the faster it moved, it got me more and more and more worried. So here I am now, 4 years later, and I didn't have to talk to my brother for 4 years. I made the choice to go no contact with them. She just couldn't get over things. I had reached out and, tried to reconcile several times. And my brother, my brother and I actually made up at one point, but he didn't want her knowing about it, And so I just couldn't really fix it. So I decided to go no contact because I, did my homework and I did my research, and I knew that even if things got better, there was always I was constantly going to be waiting for the other shoe to drop with this person, because that's just what they do. They will find a reason. Because prior to the thing that set everything off, where I stopped talking to my brother, I I noticed there were things that she was kind of trying to get at me, but I just wasn't letting it affect me in the same way. I didn't really know at that time what a narcissist really was. I thought a narcissist was somebody who was vain and, maybe bragged a lot and was just kind of, egotistical and into themselves. I didn't know about how they need supply and how they brainwash people and isolate people. And, I didn't know all that stuff at that time. And so I did my homework, because when I first met this person, for some reason, the word narcissist was the first thing that came to mind. And as I started doing my research, I started realizing your best way of dealing with these people is by not dealing with them at all. And so I don't have to deal with her because it's not my relationship. But unfortunately, in the last 2 years, my mom got sick and I have no choice but to deal with this person now. And what I'm going through and what I'm watching her, do to my brother and what she did to my mom while my mom was sick, it is so fucking disturbing. So fucking disturbing. This girl just has no empathy. She just does not care about other human beings. She is all about money. That's what she, right now, my mom passed away and all she wants is to collect money. And there is nothing I could do about it. I look at my brother and I'm just like, wow, you are fucking pathetic. What was wrong with my brother that made him get involved with this woman? Why does he not see what everybody else around him sees? It's really disturbing. She has a couple of fans in my own family, which I'll get to and talk to you guys about. But it's just so disturbing. And while I was going through what I was going through and why I watch these videos about, most of the videos and the content you're going to find online is geared towards recovery from narcissistic abuse. And for me, I need to understand, and I know there's no such thing as understanding a narcissist because you will never understand anything that they do. But I need to understand what made my brother, was it low self-esteem? What made him think that this was like his, dream girl? I just don't understand it. And what makes him continue to stay with her this whole time? I know what made me stick around. It was fear. Fear was what made me stick around in my abusive relationship. I stuck around because of fear. I was afraid he was going to hurt himself. I was afraid he was going to kill me. I was, all different things. Embarrass me, threaten me, just all these different things. So it makes me sad to know that that's what my brother is going through. But as I looked around online, I noticed there was really no support for people, families of victims of narcissistic abuse, because we are affected. Me and my brother were very, very close before we went, he started dating her. We would hang out all the time. We went shopping together. We had a really good relationship pretty much all of our lives, And when this girl came around, everything changed. His whole attitude changed. His whole personality changed. He went from this vibrant, very funny, very loud, not loud in an obnoxious way, but just very, funny, just like entertaining person, to this almost like a robot, like a droid, like just no personality anymore. He kind of became her puppet. He used to be somebody who would post on social media all the time and, constantly. He loved Instagram because, him and I are both artistic, and he liked taking, artistic pictures and posting them, and he would get them printed out and, and that all just ceased to stop. If you look at his Instagram account, you could literally see where this girl came into his life and where everything just ceased to exist. And it's so sad. It's so sad. So I am making this channel for the families, because it's really hard to watch somebody that you love, have them ripped out of your life, have them, just change, just not, willing to talk to you, not willing to listen to you, not willing to see you or smooth things out or patch things up, and you're just like, this is somebody that always knew how to resolve problems and always knew how to, fix things. And what is different this time? The difference is the narcissist. So, this is partially therapeutic for me to talk about this because, I watch all these videos and I read all these stories, and the more I hear about them, I get so fucking angry because I'm like, why are people out there? Why are they allowed to treat other human beings like this? And there's a lot of naive people out there that don't know that these people exist. And so when you first get in a relationship with them, it's so overwhelming and the feelings are so overly intense that you would never in a million years think that this person is going to ruin your life. My brother's wife's been married twice before, and I don't really know what happened with her previous marriages, but I could, take a good guess. We happened to talk to one of her ex-boyfriends at one point in time because oddly enough, her ex-boyfriend lived next door to one of my mom's cousins, and the mother kind of verified that she, the son broke up with her because she was very controlling and she didn't want him going to, his friends' houses or talking to people or going anywhere without her. And she was pressuring him to get married. And her son was about 6 or 7 years younger. She likes younger guys, this one. She's a cougar. My brother's younger than her too, but not as many, years. She has dated guys. I am about 6 or 7 years younger than her, and she dates guys that are younger than me. Because it's probably easier to control them and manipulate them. And the really dangerous part about her is that she has money and she's got a successful job, which maybe makes her more of a psychopath or a narcopath, because they can be very successful. I don't know. I really don't know what, I can't diagnose her, but I read these things, these books and these videos, and it's her. It's her to a T. And so, this channel, I want you guys to, I want victims' families to have a place to come and talk to each other and vent and say, wow, your son sounds just like my daughter. Or your son-in-law sounds just like my daughter-in-law. I think there needs to be a place, because I know for me, hearing other people's stories and seeing, what's going on, it helps. It does help. You hear other people going through it. And when other people understand what you're going through and you can communicate with them about it, it helps. Because a lot of people don't understand. And that was one of the big problems. And that's why my extended family kind of got all involved, is because nobody really understood how sick this girl was. And they still don't, after all the shit she's done. And I'm going to tell you guys this story in full detail. That's another thing. I cannot tell you the story from my brother's point of view. I am telling it to you guys from my point of view and the things that I have, my observations, and that's how I'm going to tell the story. But maybe people could relate to it. The feelings and, it's just horrible. It's a horrible, horrible thing to watch somebody that you love just, ruin their lives, basically, for this one person who is evil. In my mind, my brother's wife is an overt narcissist. Some people, to some people she may be covert. To me, it's fucking, she might as well have neon pink arrows pointing to her head saying narcissist, because I spotted it pretty much right off the bat. She's just very arrogant and, doesn't care about what you have to say. So that is the point of this channel, to give you guys a place to be, therapeutic to me, to give me a place to kind of vent and get my feelings out, because I think my friends and my family are just fucking fed up with hearing about this shit at this point in time. And, especially right now, and what I'm going through right now with settling my mom's estate. My mom passed away, and they put me through fucking hell. in this last year. She did. But I blame my brother too at this point because, every step of the way and all the things that I went through, he had a choice in all of this and he chose to go along. And I understand that it's fear driven, but at a certain point, especially when serious things happen, like a death in the family, you got to tell the person, hey, go fuck yourself, So I just want people to know that there's other people out there who get it and who understand it. And if you want to, place the vent, come here. And I'm going to share my whole entire story with you guys from, front to back, A to Z, and everything in between. And so I hope, you stick around. You could subscribe to my channel. I will be, I'm working on editing those videos, concurrently with this. And I want you guys to hear the whole story and understand what happened. And then I'll get to what that recording was that's on the channel already. So this is my second video. So please hit the